Okay, and welcome to our fireside chat with our CEO and executive team. So thank you very much for being here today. We really appreciate you taking this time out of your day, especially as we approach the holiday season. And we thought this would be a great opportunity for all of you to interact and catch up with our team, as it's now been about 6 weeks since we've launched our Catalyst brand. So without further ado, we'll start by introducing our executive team and panelists. So I would ask them if they can please turn on their video, their webcams. So we'll start off with June McAllery, President and CEO. Say hello, June.
Hi, guys. Good morning.
Wonderful. Next up, oh, sorry. Next up, we have Yubin Zin, our Vice President of Greater China Region.
Hi.
Wonderful.
Everyone.
Dan Watt, our Chief Technology Officer.
Hey, everybody.
Arnold Huffam, our Vice President of Corporate Development.
Morning, everybody.
Kevin Jones, our Vice President of Product and Marketing.
Hi there.
And last but not least, Craig Farrow, our Vice President of Sales.
Good morning, guys.
Wonderful. And I today will be your moderator, and my name is Sean Malambik. So once again, we really appreciate your time and spending this half an hour with us today. So before we start things off and open up the lines for questions, I would just like to pass things over to June in order to start us here with some opening remarks. Take it away, June.
Great. Thanks very much, Sean, and thanks everybody. Good morning, and thanks for joining us today. As Sean said, it's hard to believe it's only been 6 weeks since we relaunched the PCI brand as Catalyst. And even for us, we're still getting used to the name changes in our organization. So forgive us if we fall back and start using some of the old names that you've been using for years. I am very happy that we've received a tremendous amount of enthusiasm with regards to the interest in our new solutions. And that's not only from our existing customers, but also from a non-traditional geospatial user base. We've been really delighted by the engagement that we've had with companies and how this is changing. Clearly, the message that we've launched is resonating with more than the traditional base that we're used to dealing with. In October, when we relaunched, I said I wanted to change how people think about Earth observation data, how it can be used across multiple industries and in many applications. For me now, as I look back over the last 6 weeks, it feels like it's been our best kept secret in that how we can leverage it to produce better outcomes so that we also leave this place in a better state than what we found it. So for those of you in the audience that have been using Earth observation data on a daily basis, I love that you're our evangelists for the science, where you tell your colleagues and your friends, your neighbors about how important Earth observation data can be in their day-to-day interactions and their business decisions. And like I said, in producing those different outcomes. So enough from me. What I really wanted to do today was for you to hear about what we're working on from the team who are responsible for making this transformation happen. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it back over to Sean, and he can introduce the rest of turn it over to the rest of the team. Thanks, Sean.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, June. So with that, we've actually been receiving a few questions already, so really appreciate it. I think, this will be a good question to start off with. So why do you think Earth observation imagery isn't widely adopted, and what can be done to change that? So I'm going to hand this off to Kevin as our Vice President of Product and Marketing, if you can address that.
So it's a great question, and I think one of the key things that I'm really excited about is the opportunity that is now afforded by more people who participate in this industry. Earth observation is got a lot of promise. There really is so much information that could be extracted from EO imagery. What I like to do on weekends is play with imagery. That's kind of what I enjoy. And just last weekend, I was stacking multi-temporal data around Toronto and observing patterns. And I was just thinking, put into the hands of people who have a different perspective, what kind of questions are they trying to answer? If only they could leverage the technology to study this data and create new information products and really extract more value out of the data. That would just be fantastic. And I think if you look at the way that we've reorganized our products and what we're trying to achieve, it's really to stretch the value that could be extracted across the value chain. So, you know, whereas traditionally we've been more working with experts in Earth observation, and as June said in her opening comments, there's absolutely a need for the science to be proven out. But I really think that we're at a stage now where the Earth observation science is pretty mature, and we're entering into the operational realm, and we're already there in quite a number of cases. So we, as a company, have invested heavily in developing that science over the last several decades. We've been around since 1982, and we really think that there's value that can be extracted by leveraging our science in new ways. So we're excited to speak to a lot of partners who can license our technology in new and innovative ways, whether they're building an application and they want to OEM our technology as part of their offering, or if they want to consume our algorithms on a one-off basis as part of more of a cloud-based implementation. That's certainly possible. You know, we've really not only made our technology easier to consume from a technology point of view, which Dan can get into a little bit more, but also in terms of licensing, like what is the investment and what is the business model that can be implemented is really kind of where we're going with all of this. So, you know, we've redone our licensing, we've redone the way that our technology can be deployed to really open up more conversations with customers and partners who can leverage our technology. And that's what I'm really excited about, because when I'm playing with that data, you know, I'm really thinking there's a lot of people who can extract value from this information. They just need the science, and they need the science to be delivered in a way that they can build those applications. So that's what really, you know, I get pumped up about this. So great question.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kevin. So just going down, so I think Dan, sounds like you have a fan in the audience. So I'm just going to read one. This is for you. So if you can unmute your mic, Dan, in preparation. So I attended a presentation where Dan presented that your algorithms will be available through microservices. Can you help me better understand what microservices are and how I can benefit from them?
Sure. Good question. It's a foundation of a lot of what we're doing. So microservices are discrete routines that act on their own to perform a defined function. And a traditional system, we would have taken those routines, we compile them all together, and we make a software package. But microservices don't quite work that way. They're the same routines, but they're loosely coupled, meaning that they perform independently, and it comes with a few advantages. So they can scale on a massive level. Since each routine is independent, we get to run as many of those instances of those routines as we want and have hardware for. And in the infinitely scalable cloud world, really your budget becomes the limiting factor. Unlike in the traditional world, where the hardware became, you know, you only had so many desktops or you only had so many servers, this kind of thing. In the cloud world, there is no real limit there. So each service can also be changed independently of the others. And so this provides us a way of giving frequent updates to the science without impacting the whole system together. So you don't have to install things. You don't have to worry about, you know, every 2 months there's a new release that requires you to install all your software all over again. And then this is probably the most powerful reason for doing it, is that the services can be assembled any way required to solve a problem. And so you can think of them as Lego, and most of us played with Lego as kids. And with a small number of building blocks or pieces, you could build a large number of different structures. And so with microservices, a relatively small number of services can be assembled in different ways to solve a varied number of problems. And so with these things as benefits, you can build a system that you would use our science alongside algorithms potentially from other organizations in areas that we don't focus on. And you could create a unique workflow that would solve a myriad of problems that would be particular for you or the industry that you work in. So it gives a lot of flexibility. And so what we've done is we said, hey, we can use our own services to create a different offering. And we built our Insights product based on those services. And so Insights allows us to process large volumes of complex radar data and visualize it in an easy to understand front end. So it kind of hides the science so that we can provide that technology and that understanding and complexity of the decades worth of science that we have to non-traditional geoscience users and business people, and they get to look at this data and, as Kevin said, kind of play around with it in a way that they've probably never been able to work with Earth observation data. So the important thing here, though, is that the science that's inside the microservices is still the same solid science that PCI has developed over decades worth of research, and microservices are just a new and different way to consume that science.
This question was, you launched Catalyst about a month ago, so it was actually 6 weeks ago, and released new offerings like your Insights product and seem to be really focusing on subscriptions. How has this been received so far? So I'm going to hand this off to Craig. You've been having a lot of conversations with partners and customers around our new offerings over the last 6 weeks. So I think you might be best suited to answer this question.
I'm in a pretty good position to describe some of that. We've been conducting over the past 6 weeks since the launch of Catalyst, and actually more in keeping with the last 3 weeks, in-depth sessions with not only our global partner network, but also with multiple end users. And some of the key words that you've heard here this morning, like new potential industries and stretching value and leveraging our heritage and easier to consume, all those types of things, especially scalability, are all features and qualities that the new lineup of product brings. And it's not me saying it, it's me listening to the feedback from the resellers that we have out there, as well as the customers. So I can tell you that the changes at PCI have been greeted with incredible enthusiasm. I mean, we're having exhaustive discussions about different types of things that aren't really technology based, but are people based. We're talking about how we can solve problems. We're talking about, how we mitigate risk. We're talking about how we eliminate pain points. We're into a whole different kind of discussion that really is very powerful stuff. And to June's point, this monumentally shifts, the paradigm in terms of how we help navigate, big decisions that are being made that impact the planet. So, I think a couple of good examples. That actually was one that just took place this morning. We were speaking with one of our resellers that's in a very, very remote part of the world. And we were talking about use cases that up until the launch of Insights wouldn't have been a discussion that could have taken place. And we were talking about a couple of use cases he has with illicit crop growing identification and agriculture, where there's a scalability issue because of the seasonality of the use case. And we were able to present a solution to him that he can bring forward to the people that he's dealing with, that up until, as I say, the launch of Catalyst, it wasn't possible. And just not going back too far, but rather about a week, we were in discussions with a great partner of ours, where we were talking about insights in land deformation and how we could utilize that type of use case for potentially identifying landslide risks in key parts of Europe. So it's as I say, a very significant change in the dialogue we're having, which suits me to no end, because I love talking about use cases and how it impacts organizations and people and how you measure it. I think one of the other things I'd like to add, because it has an enormous impact on the business, is the introduction of subscription as a way of acquiring our services. And you can't, in every instance where we're talking to end users and resellers, the idea of being able to leverage a subscription to get access to our product services represents a very low risk way of doing it, because suddenly the Teutonic lift, having to budget enormous amounts of money to get a solution in place. The budget cycles could be 1 or 2 years. The risk may be prohibitive for certain organizations. And now to be able to enter into an adoption of one of our product solutions on a subscription basis is highly attractive. And it suddenly opens the gateway to an enormous amount of addressable market that really was too remote to contemplate not that long ago. So it not only gives us new customer opportunities, it gives us new addressable market. And interestingly enough, one of the comments that one of our partners made the other day, which is absolutely true, he says it reduces the lumpiness of my pipeline. He said that, having this kind of a consistent revenue stream is not only an enormous benefit to my customers, and I can leverage this to grow my opportunities and my relevance with existing customers, but it also helps my business. So it's a win-win-win all around. I think in closing, I can say unequivocally, the first few weeks out of the gate, talking with the field, which is really my barometer, it would give this a 2 thumbs up in a big way. We're onto something pretty spectacular here, and it paves the way for an outstanding 2021.
So I'm actually going to switch gears here, and we received an email question earlier this morning from one of our partners in China, and wasn't able to attend, so asked if we had a recording, so this will be recorded and sent out. But it's a perfect question for Yubin. So Yubin, in China, remote sensing technology and data has been mostly limited to government and a small group of researchers. Do you think your new offerings will resonate here?
Well, as the China geospatial industry and the market are rapidly recovered and kept being this development now, the new development and the market trend is not limited in science and technology was a traditional business model, but also to broad cross-domain applications. So the more common users in the various advanced delivery models. So we believe that as the more opening with the China geoscience and the geodata information technology applications, it is the perfect time for us to provide our full line, most updated technology solution to a more broad customer base in China, including the traditional government customer and the public domain and the private companies and all the other application users. That's the conclusion from our analysts.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Yubin. Okay, so we're going to move on with another question. So we have, as a data provider, one of the things I've been tasked with in 2021 is to find new ways to get our data in front of downstream users, which seems similar to one of your goals. What kind of partnerships and paths are you exploring to accomplish this? So I think that's a perfect question for Arnold, if you can address this, Arnold.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, thanks for the chance to answer that question. So I'd say our new offerings such as microservices, insights, and OEM provide us with great new opportunities for partnering beyond the traditional reseller relationships that you might be familiar with. These new partnering opportunities provide us with new ways for us to sell with and through third parties, such as might be on the line, to serve new customers and new vertical markets in new ways. I'd say that this is very exciting and is the focus of my new role here at Catalyst in corporate development. I think that the nature of those partnerships is open. It could be ideas for localized or niche insights that we might not be able to address, or you offer a platform for integrating data with software, putting the software next to the data, as Dan was talking about, or you want to embed our software in your product, or perhaps something we haven't even thought of yet. I think that the main message is that we're open for business, and I'll be reaching out to potential partners as I've been doing for the past few months. So likewise, if you see yourself, if you're on the line and you see yourself as a potential partner, please contact me. I look forward to hearing from you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Arn. So I think we have time for a couple, maybe 1 or 2 more questions. So I have another one. This one I think would be great for Kevin. So it says, it sounds like Insights right now is concentrating on radar. Is there something similar for the sensors such as multispectral or or data in the future?
Yeah, thanks, Sean. So yeah, absolutely. The Catalyst Insights launched is focused on land deformation, and that leverages repeat pass synthetic aperture radar. One of the nice things with our technology is we can leverage multiple sensors. So we'll be able to support some of the commercial data, or well, not some, the commercial data that's available, like RadarSat-2, TerraStar X, and so on, in addition to the Sentinel-1 data, which is what we use for our initial demonstration. We are focusing on areas that have been a traditionally strong area for PCI. We have been developing SAR technology for many years. And what I forgot to mention in my opening comments is the data that I typically play with is SAR data, because I'm a bit of a SAR nerd. I have been since the beginning of my career. And that's where we see a lot of growth. There's a lot of potential for SAR. It's really sort of, there's a lot of people out there who are calling this the golden age of SAR. Exciting new constellations being launched or already have been launched, like ISI, Capella in the US, Umbra Labs in the US. There's some constellations out of Japan that are coming. There's NISAR coming from the US as well in partnership with India. So there's a lot of excitement around SAR, and I think that we can offer a lot of great science around that. So it makes sense that we've started there. Having said that, we have other great science that we can make available. We have produced technology to generate analysis-ready data. That tends to be more focused around satellite optical imagery, things like Landsat, Sentinel-2, also spot imagery, where we've spent a lot of time developing technology, other sensors like Rapid Eye. So, the sky's the limit in terms of what we can do. We do have to focus on key areas where we see the market potential and there's great alignment with our science. So that's where we're starting, but let's have conversations. So we're really open to having conversations about where our partners and our customers see the growth and where we can leverage our science.
Wonderful, really appreciate that. So I think with that, we'll conclude the Q&A session of this Fireside Chat. So we really appreciate everyone taking time out of your day and asking these questions. If we didn't get to your question today, we will do a follow-up. So we have a record of all the questions that were asked, so we will follow up by email with all the other questions. So with that, I'm just going to hand things off to June for just a final message to everyone here today.
Perfect. Thanks very much, and thanks to the team. Great to hear your voices for changing. So everybody in the audience, thanks for participating and joining us. Hopefully this is the start of many as we get a wee bit more comfortable on our feet as we start to do more of these fireside chats. It's fairly new to us, but again, looking forward to doing this again in the near future. So from us to yours, wishing everyone from Catalyst, PCI, whatever you want to call us, wishing you, your families, your friends a very safe and happy holidays. And we look forward to being in touch at any point. Reach out. I guess we're all available as we continue to work from home. But look forward to a very productive and successful 2021 for all of us. Anyway, thank you again for joining us. Stay safe, and we'll speak with you soon. Bye-bye.